Here's my review of some of my trades today. I traded Skills, Tesla, Snap, and I think that was it. Those three. I actually got stopped out at max loss here really early in the morning, but I also lowered my max loss quite a bit. So I lowered my max loss quite a bit, but then I also traded a bit too much in the open. But I'm totally okay with it because I feel like I'm really making some strides here and I'm seeing some good things. So I'm okay with just doing some reviews after and just breaking it down and still kind of making these playbooks because I do feel like I'm seeing a lot of stuff right now. And so I'm still going to just make it a positive day, basically. So the skills, I'll just go over this one first. Most of these plays I wasn't successful on, but I do like some of the breakdown of them. So if you notice on the daily, Skills has this nice kind of like 5 inside days here with an uptrend going on. It's not the prettiest. It does have some wicks, which aren't the best, but nevertheless, it's got a bunch of inside days which are going to create that compression. A lot of times there will be some kind of news catalyst or something that is connected to like a breakout, which I don't even know if there was a news on this. I think there was news, but I wanted to go over some more later in this that I do think there was a bit of a balance, more of a balance on this as opposed to of a major imbalance, which would have made it for a bigger breakout. So anyways, I liked the daily, and then what I liked was that price was basically nearing the top of all these levels. It was opening right at the top. I was opening closer to $20, but then it pulled back right before the open and opened a bit lower. And so let's see here on the 1 minute. Right here on the 5 minute, you can see here, this is the trend right here, right? Kind of coming up, especially these last 2 days. The lows are getting higher. And then this was about the top here. It was a pretty good looking top here. And then this is where pre-market was. You can see the pivots are condensed. It's basically above R4 for the majority of it. Right before the open, it does pull back and then it opens down here. But I don't, you could get in long here if you wanted to because this 1960 was a decent spot. Or if it gets up a little bit higher, gets back above, then you could go long here with the idea that this is going to bring in more players. You're going to have higher R-vol and then get maybe a trend up day or a breakout day, or at least some good patterns. So I liked that, and then here's the 60-minute, kind of shows the same thing. I like to just the bigger time frames is what I've really been working on. Gives you that bigger player mentality, more money involved, more players, bigger moves. So you can kind of see that going up, and then also compressing here, just a really big compression, and then right here, price is in the pre-market right here on top. So it's almost on top, holding. I mean, that's just a bullish sign all the way right there, because if it does come down and it's a fake out and it really does come down, maybe there's some negative news, this thing would really sell off because then all these people are going to start getting out. So that would be like a crazy sell off if it was the opposite way. I don't know. Or maybe it would have trouble getting down through here. I'm not sure. So here's what I did. I messed it up. That's what happened. This was my last trade, and I actually hit max loss in the middle of this trade. During this little pullback, it's like, you hit max loss. You're about to get stopped out here in 3, 2, 1, and then boom, it just stopped me out. And my stop was just below here. But anyways, this is what I liked about this. I liked the stock. It went up. It was doing that bigger picture in my mind. Got above R4, got above pre-market. I love when the price can hold pre-market high here and then consolidate right above it, this pre-market high level. So it's holding above, it's pre-market stuff. You got a level to risk against, and then with the idea that it'll get up to here, high of day, and then move again. And you could even add in too. So just wasn't able to do that. And it also didn't move amazingly. I mean, there were some decent wicks and stuff too. But you can see right here, volume came in right on the breakout of this little range that it created, which is a good signal. But what I noticed on the tape here, when I went long, okay, so let me back up a little bit. Right before I entered, you could see that I entered here, right? This was the pre-market high holding to an extent, had some wicks, but there was a big bid, or a bigger bid at 1993, which was down all the way down here. And then the next big ask at 2048, which is almost high of day, right around here. So kind of looks like it's a split decision right now. It looks like it's in balance, which makes sense, right? Because price is kind of caught here. So market makers just staying in here, filling shares. Maybe it'll tip one way or the other, and then it'll go to either of those orders. So I think because it didn't look amazing on the L2, even though I had that bigger picture in mind, you know, I don't think that I should necessarily put a ton of risk on it. It's not checking all the boxes is what I'm saying. So, which that L2, I would have wanted maybe some like 3 or 4 big orders on this side. And it probably would have moved a lot quicker or better on up here. So then, so yeah, I guess that's it about for skills. It does end up going up. I just kind of wanted to go over that about skills and how another thing is the ATR is only 1.3, almost 1.4, right? So in RVol today I think it was higher than 150% at one time. So nothing amazing. And looking at it now, it's only moved from 19.7 to barely 21. So it's only moved 1 ATR. And if I look at the level 2 right now, it has gotten better right here, right? 21.22. So maybe this thing will move up and surpass that 1 ATR and utilize its higher RVol today and eventually break above this later and then make another maybe 50-cent move. But maybe it won't, and then maybe this was the high of the day. So we'll see. But it's still above pre-market high. It's still above VWAP. So I feel like this thing is gonna show up later, and it's gonna keep going. So I also traded Tesla right here. You know, second day play. Had the crazy breakout day here yesterday. Completely closed at the high of day, which is super bullish, right? Plus you had this huge triangle compression, right, on the daily. Everyone was looking at it. People on Twitter were talking about it, et cetera, et cetera. And then even before that, you had 2 really good inside days, really good compression days here. And you can see higher lows here. So you had this bigger triangle, and then you had an even smaller one where these lows got higher and higher while the top sort of stayed the same, which really creates that compression. So then for the second day play, you know, I'm not sure if people were looking to short it or long it, but a lot of times, you know, there is a decent play, and Thor sometimes does it where you have these tight pivots, you get the nice breakout, and then the second day you have the wide pivots, right? It's sort of like a 3-bar play on the daily. You get the one big green day, you get the indecision second day, and then maybe another indecision, or maybe the third big breakout day again to kind of continue the momentum. And so sometimes Thor will short this stock from R3 or R4 back down to S3 for that kind of doji daily. But the difference with this one is that, like I said, it closed at the high of the day, super strong bullish. It had that huge daily setup. And then this morning, this was nice here. The pre-market was super tight. You know, for the most part, most of the trading was being done right here and here. And that's just $6 range. This ATR for this stock is $20, and that's on these lower volume days the last few months. Normally for a while it was about $30 ATR for this stock. So yeah, I really like this because I love these tighter ranges, consolidations in the pre-market, because you can use these levels, and a lot of times if they line up with other levels, like this pre-market high, if it lines up with another big daily level, something like that, you can really give it even more conviction. But I like how it did break it. It did break the bottom of the range, but if you see, just a few minutes later, it got back above it, tried to break it again, and then, so here it was almost compressing. You just kind of had to fight this area here a bit more. It wasn't as pretty as yesterday, where yesterday it just took off. I actually tried to get long. My first entry was long right here. So my first entry was long at the bottom of this range. So I tried to do it. My stop, I think my stop was pretty tight, so I lost 1 hour right away at the open, and that kind of sucked. And then I tried, I can't remember, or maybe I tried a long again and I got spooked and got out right away. Here I got cute and thought it was a short now, because I thought maybe this is not, it is going to do that doji day, and then I just tried a long here, and then it broke out and it did do the move. And you can see how it just makes awesome patterns the whole day. Made this compression, broke up. It held this level really nicely. This pre-market high in the 680 here, and then just kept going. I added in here and then just got all out. I was just worried and wanted to keep my money. Wish I wouldn't have, but so that's pretty much it for Tesla. So Tesla was definitely a second day continuation. You know, you got the small pullback, but you could use the pre-market to work with that pullback and then eventually get long again. And I feel like if anyone got long later, like I did, you should have been bullish for a lot of the day because of this. The asks, the level 2, let's see. I think there would just be about like one bigger ask on the way up for a while, but otherwise it wasn't super imbalanced like yesterday. Yesterday there was a big ask every dollar, every half dollar. There was another big ask that would show up. Whereas here it's just a little bit more. Just there isn't anything huge. Oh yeah, I did notice some big block orders though, which was pretty cool. So price came up, broke out of this compression, then came back down and held this area for a bit, and then took back off. And this aligned with this really big block order here. So this block order happened at 9:52, which was right around here. And that was below the money, like really below the money. It's orange, so, or below the bid. So it hit that, 675. So yeah, it was basically right in line with this price. So it came down here, and then from there it went up. So I think that's a good bullish sign. If you go back down to it, a big block order comes in, and then you get above it and you're holding it, that means this is now support later on, and price is going to the next big order. Maybe it even shows here what happened. Okay, so right here. Okay, so it's about to happen right here. Okay, so right here it's about to happen. We're at 676.50. Boom, 675.21. I don't know if the candle actually gets down to that. I don't know if the candle even breaks 676. But you can definitely see that price rips up kind of fast after that block order went in. Yeah, so that's it. So price actually didn't, the candle actually didn't show getting down there, and I don't think the level 2 did either. But I do think you can use those block orders to help you out sometimes. And there was another big block order here later on. Let me see here. So right here, a big block order comes in. I'll show you. So Tesla's making its move. It's still trending up. We're coming up on R4, which I wasn't necessarily using R4 for anything. But I'll show you here how, there you go, boom, a big block order. Another one came in. If you remember, the last one came in right here, right? Way down here. Actually, it was down here, but it didn't hit it. And then we make our traverse up here. Now 683.50, which is a little, it would be a little bit of a pullback here. So I believe that price does eventually pull back to here or even lower before continuing. So I feel like this might have been a clue that, and sometimes Megan would point these out. Like if she sees these really big orders that are really away from the ask or really below the bid, she says sometimes price does turn back around, head towards that big order, and from there you'll have to kind of, you know, it's the art of it all, of what it does next. But that sometimes that does happen, and I do think it happens here. So right here, I fast forwarded a bit. You can see that price did come all the way back. A few minutes after that big block order came in, price went all the way back down past 683, did a nice shooting star hammer, and then turned around. So I feel like it was a bit of a clue that price was going to come back to that area, and then once it got above it again, once it got above 683.50, that big block order, then maybe you could add in here. Yeah. Okay, so I had one more trade actually. It was on AMD. It was a paper trade, but I also really liked it. So let's go over it. So right here, AMD. This day we had huge news, or bigger news with AMD, right? And then we had this big day. And then here's your second day play, right? Here's the indecision doji, right? So it would have came all the way up. You could have got a nice short, maybe at S3, or excuse me, R3 or R4, and then a pullback. And then I had another pullback here. And then you had 3 inside days, which is really awesome here. And this was a nice, decent level here, right? All these candles that this initially broke out of, then it pulls back, hits the top of that, compresses, and probably has some tighter pivots today. And you know, like this news and this volume, a lot of times this stock is going to be in play for multiple days or multiple weeks. You know, it's going to have a leg up, some pullbacks, and then potentially another couple leg ups. And then what also is nice about AMD, if we zoom out, is you can see how, yeah, the pivots got tighter and tighter, the lows got higher and higher, and then price, pre-market, was literally right towards the top. It was consolidating, meaning it's preparing to bust through. It needs to do this compression towards the top of a range to break through. If it had sold off some of the day here yesterday, and then in the pre-market opened up in the pre-market here and made its traverse all the way up in the pre-market, then it opened up here, it would have been harder for this thing to continue going because it just had to use all that energy to get from here to here. So I like to see price in the pre-market especially consolidate towards the top and already be up there and waiting and be ready and be like building and preparing. And so what else I liked about this is that I missed the entry, obviously. I mean, this thing, ATR on this is 2, and this thing was already at 2 ATR almost right here. So I entered after it was at, or excuse me, 1 ATR. So I entered right after it was at 1 ATR, but I didn't give a fuck. So what I liked was the L2. So what I liked about this AMD stock is that even though it moved 1 ATR, and it was, you know, you could probably say it was overextended, you know, it had awesome RVOL, you know, like 200+%. It was breaking out again, it was now consolidating up here. And then on top of that, the L2 looked good. You had asks, a lot more bigger asks than bids. And then another thing is that if you notice, this bid, this bigger bid, is not that far below. It's only like 3 cents below this, right? It's not like they're sitting way down here. And then these are, you know, all the way up here. So, you know, maybe it's not something you could put a ton of risk on, but I do think that there was enough reasoning to try this for a continuation because the L2 looked good. Everything looked good. I mean, a pullback would have been better to VWAP, you know. Just pull back, hit this, then you would have had a nice volume here, and then like that. But it doesn't always work like that. It's, you know, this stuff is always different. And you know, it had this nice higher lows going on. Another baby compression. You know, there's just like compressions everywhere here. When these stocks are in play and they're moving and go into another new value area, they make all these awesome patterns. And then you can play against them. So, all right, thanks for listening.